Alright, welcome to Doozer Shop. Got an update for you. I've been working on the apron for the 17-inch Clausen Colchester lathe. Got this lathe, had a few minor little things wrong with it, a broken gear basically, and it needed some cleanup. The same lathe that Keith Fenner has, so if you've ever checked out Keith's videos, we have the same lathe. Haven't gotten it going yet, had seen in my other videos some casting repair on this gearbox piece, and it needed a new gear. Let me go handheld, shake the camera, give you guys a headache, and show you what I got going on, because it's a cool setup I got in the mill. Be right here. Alright, good. Yeah, we're still going. So, if you remember, well, let me show you the Colchester. Highly unorganized. That's the Colchester. The apron is removed from the Colchester. And here's why. So, there's a power feed gear that had some teeth stripped off. I got a new one ordered, so let me show you. I'm on walkabout like Crocodile Dundee here. Alright. That's the power feed for the cross feed and the longitudinal feed. And I brazed it in here because it was thin, and I added some more material. And there was a little offset of 5 thou in the bore where the crack was. And I got that all fixed up. I've been doing some painting on it. But that goes on the apron. And let me show you where I got the apron set up. And I promise I'm going to get a new camera one of these days, and I'm going to actually edit this stuff instead of just going crazy with it here. Alright. Gorton mill, the 9J. Love the Gorton. Alright, so there was nothing wrong with this, but, you know, better's the enemy of good. So I got it on the mill, and I'll show you why. Okay. Half nut. That's the half nut. Pardon the tools. It's in good shape, and it's truly half a nut, and that's just what Colchester uses. Cast iron, the whole thing's cast iron, and let's see, I wanted to show you this piece. Alright, that is the cam that lifts up the half nut, engages it and disengages it with the lead screw. And how this works is there's a little stud, and it goes in the hole. And to lift and lower the half nut with this cam, that little stud goes, you know, you guys get it in there. So when you turn this, you know, it rides in the cam and lifts and lowers the half nut. Now, what the deal is, I have put everything in my parts washer and cleaned it and degreased it, and that's fine, you know. But what I noticed is the half nut stopped working smoothly and going up and down. And of course it would stop because all the oil and grease has been washed out of the mechanism, like off the slide, and it's retained sideways, and, you know, of course out this little half circle cam feature, I guess I'll call it a cam. It would bind up, and like I say, of course, but, you know, oiling it is very important. I mean, the fact that it bound up so easily when I washed all the oil and lubricant off says this is critical to have oil on this thing. But the apron has oilers and no provision for the oil to get to any of this stuff. So anyways, All right, there's the apron, and this is the surface that goes up against the bottom of the saddle, I guess you'd call it. And there's oilers in the saddle, and you know, I hope there's enough light. Okay. There's holes here, and there's like a groove, a trough, that there's like little Gitz cups on top of the saddle that, you know, feed all these. What's interesting, the port. See, this is the hole that the stud goes in for the half nut to go up and down, and it's not extended. The oil trough, it's not extended to it, and I guess I could have put it in and milled it and extended it to it and called it good, but I didn't. I wanted to put in a Gitz flip top oiler, a real deal one. I mean, like this is for the Gorton mill. This is, you know, that's a Gitz oiler, and it's for the table on the Gorton. This stupid thing is in the way. So what I did, okay, this is actually a good angle. I tapped that for 1/8 inch pipe thread, and I got a pipe nipple that goes in there. And see, the pipe nipple goes in here, extends. It's just like a double wall apron, and then it goes into there, and the oil would feed this vertical bore, which, you know, in turn oil would run down and lubricate the half nut. But I got this in the mill. To get this and that drilled and lined up and tapped was a pain in the rear. And I'll show you why, but I'll show you my setup here first. So, back up. The apron set up on the Gorton mill, I got it on height jacks. And you can kind of see. Yeah, alright. Alright, so there's a height jack right there. And there's a height jack there. So I can level it. Oh, and you see in the middle, there's a stud. There's the clamp nut. There's another coupling nut. It's not, it's just a nut. And then it's in the T-slot. So that holds it down. So I got the jacks on the back. You can walk around the front. Alright, there's another jack on the wood, and there's a jack there, and there's another height jack. That's actually a valve tappet from an International Harvester engine, but it works. So that's my setup, and there's the hole. Hope it's focused right there that I drilled, and the drill bit. Oh, there's a pain in the butt. It was walking and everything. So that's the drill for 1/8 inch pipe. I think it's 11-30 seconds or something, and then so that's a long guy, and it needs to be long to go through both walls of the apron. So I gotta show you. So there's the hole. You can see it's kind of wet from oil from tapping, and then let me see. That's the hole I punched through the top, and it actually gets into some sort of a reinforcement on the casting. But so that's the guy. Ooh, darn this focus. And of course, you know, I got collets in my spindle, and that's how I did it. So, long story short, if that's possible, I'm going to show you how this goes up. Let's stick it up in the spindle hole. So this is a through hole. This is like 0.406 diameter, and there. All right, so that's good. So that hole, and there's the bore. You guys can see it. Pardon the valve lifter. So there's the bore where the lubrication pipe now is threaded into. You can see it goes to the top of the apron, and there it pops out. And I'm going to put a Gitz lubrication cup on that. I'm going to get an 1/8 inch pipe thread, you know, coupling fitting or something. So, but anyways, that'll allow me to lubricate that. So it will intersect here, oil will drip down here, and I might, it'll just drip right on this stud, which slides in the cam. So everything now is going to be nicely lubricated, right directly on the half nut and the lead screw. So I'm real happy about that. That's my whole setup. And just getting that pipe in there and tapping it. You know, if you tap, well, first of all, okay, the drill was going off center. Trying to find my piece here. You kind of go around. And I had to make sure that that would stay lined up, and I had to clamp on a little block to make sure that the drill didn't drift, and then to get the tap in there and started it straight, and I had to use a pilot for the tap. If I can show you. So this is just a shank of an old tool that I ground a point on, and I held it, you know, and piloted the tap in with it. So anyways, so that worked out pretty well, and I just wanted to show you guys my setup with the height jacks and machine and everything, because I know how important oil is to those half nuts. So I got all kinds of, yeah, I got my regular 1/8 inch pipe tap, and this is a short guy. If I needed, I'm so flimsy here, clumsy. That's a short projection tap in case you have a blind hole application. Black Molly is good. Molly D, I think Castrol makes it. Setting that up. I mean, I set it up with the dial indicator and got it all indicated in. And oh yeah, this is my block. What had happened was when the drill casting passed through the first bore, and it was trying to drill the second part of the apron, it was walking. So what I did is I used this as like a drill guide bushing, and I clamped that piece of metal to the bottom wall of the apron to keep the drill bit on course until I get it, you know, got it started. So I've been working on this for like 2 days, I think, and I finally got it, you know, where this would, I was so happy when I got this 1/8 inch pipe nipple to screw in, and it was all lined up perfect enough to screw in easily. I mean, that's lined up. And I know a lot of times when they thread the nipples, the threads aren't on straight at all. You know, you screw the nipple in, the nipple will orbit, but this one was threaded pretty good. One side is threaded better than the other. This side here had a little bit of orbit to it, so I'm using the opposite side, you know, in the in the casting, right there. And I'm just, it does miss the gear by 1/4 inch, you know, but I think it's a good way to get oil to that, you know, that's actually a vertical bore when it's all put together. And but anyways, got to make new bushings for the lead screw and the feed rod there, and I got one over there and all this good stuff. But I just wanted to show you guys this cool setup. You know, I leveled it all in 2 directions and got it all lined up and indicated in. So I'm one step closer to getting the 17 inch Colchester lathe back in up and running, and I think this is just the last piece of it until I get it, you know, I just got to clean it now again and get it maybe painted and back assembled. So until next time, hope you enjoyed it. This is Doozer's Shop.